Order. Okay. We're going to discuss field day. This is going to be a somewhat open discussion. To tell you where we are. Some of you haven't gone through field day. Most of you have. So field day is going to be, when does it start? It starts Saturday at what time? 2 o'clock or something?
2 o'clock local.
Saturday, 2 p.m. local, and it ends when?
Sunday at 2.
Sunday. Oh, so it's 24 hours.
It's 27 hours technically, but we usually only operate 24 hours of that.
If it's 2 to 2, how does it get to be 27?
Well, I don't know what John's thinking with, but it's 27 hours. But most of us operate at 24 hours.
So does it start Saturday at 2 or does it start earlier?
It starts Saturday at 2.
Maybe it ends at 5 on Sunday.
Technically, by the rules, if you don't start setting up until 2 o'clock on Friday, you can go until 5 o'clock Sunday. So that's the 27 hours.
Okay.
But pretty much everybody quits at 2 o'clock on Sunday, and there will be very, very few contacts to be made after 2 o'clock on Sunday, if any. So it's kind of not worth doing.
All right. So the way it works is that apparently I am going to be the overall commander, I guess. Welcome aboard. We're going to have people who are going to be flitting in and out and being first mates and first officers and going where needed. That would be Rob, I believe Eric, and probably John and Jeff. John K. LYP and Jeff AKN. So they won't have a specific assignment, but they'll be able to handle lots of things, although John will have one assignment I'll talk about. So we have most of the key things have been already filled, but we need some help and we need some other people to step up here. We have one glaring opening. For CW, the CW station will be set up, and the captain of that is our affectionately known as Railroad Bob, Whiskey Bravo 1, Golf Yankee Zulu.
Thank you.
Could you describe what the job of a captain? One second before we do that. There's two other transmitting stations. One is the CW I told you about. The other is the GOTA station, which is the Get on the Air, where Rick KC1OYN has graciously agreed to be the captain of that. Reluctantly, I might add, with some trepidation, but true to his character, he's willing to just see how it goes. And I admire that, and I thank you very much for your willingness. I did call Eric Knight and asked Eric, since Eric and Elsie had run this in the past, to please contact Rick and Rick to contact them to get filled in on what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And I said to Rick, if there are areas you need to contact, like helping set up an antenna, you've got the helpers floating around, Santa's helpers, as it were, to help with that. So we've got the CW and the GOTA station. I know he's not going to be there Sunday, but we'll arrange for someone to cover Sunday. We have
I'd be happy to go with a co-captain for somebody who'll take over Sunday.
Right. We'll work on that. We've got over a month to do that. That shouldn't be a problem. Single side, the phone group, the single side band, I don't have anybody who stepped up to do that. And I was very reluctant to start asking people in front of, 30 Hollywood Squares if they're interested in doing that. But, if somebody wants to step up and do that, I had asked a couple people and they weren't able to do it. If somebody wants to do it, that would be wonderful. So let me just hold that aside for a second so you can all mull that over. We have need for a greeter, that is someone who will say hello to the people when they come in and sort of get them acclimated with the hello, my name is kind of thing. And that's going to be Ted, KC1DOY. He's going to do that. This is the captain of the greeters. We have an infrared and a breakfast stations. The infrared is traditionally NGV, who's going
GNV.
GNV, even better, GNV. Better. John's going to do that, and John Ramadi, KB1 MFU, is going to do the breakfast on Sunday. So that's covered for the food. N1 GNV and KB1 MFU. We need someone to codify the logs and put the logs in, send it in, and N1ZN Jim has graciously agreed to do that. So he will get the logs from the CW, the sideband, I guess GOTA as well. Is that correct? And then maybe some of the other types of stations like satellite, and he will submit that for us. Correct, Jim?
Yeah, I want to have some clarification on that, because you don't just submit your logs from your radio stations. You have to submit a whole package.
Okay.
The package includes all the contacts made by the stations and any other bonus points that you plan on working and
Right.
achieving.
We're going to go back and go through all of these separately. I just wanted to give an overview here.
All
So
right.
we need someone to run publicity. That is with the town, and the hope would be that Kristen Olson would be able to do that. I haven't spoken with her. I haven't spoken with Eric about that yet, but that would be someone to get the newspapers and just contact them. So I'll have that. That is an area that's open as well. And someone needs to contact a public elected official, and that I am told K1LYP has agreed to look into. Last that we had Mary Mashinsky, I think, came by 1 year, and some other folk. If we have the mayor come by, that's a hat trick right there. If he brings friends. I don't know if you get QST, the June issue has a field guide, which is not as blurry as it looks, but it's a part of it's an insert that can be taken out of the magazine, and talks about various bonus points, which I'll go over in a second. Well, actually, I'll go over now. You get bonus points for someone checking, using 100% emergency power, for media publicity, setting up in a public place. I believe we are setting up in a public place. Is that right, Rob?
That's affirmative. We are setting up in a public facility.
Okay, because we're at the, by the way, the official term for that building is the Office of Emergency Management, the OEM. The EOC is in the police department, and Lenny made that clear. So we need to change that on the front of KeyClicks, because KeyClicks has that incorrectly listed, as it turns out, while I was looking at KeyClicks. A minor point. Setting up a public information table with a copy of club handouts and photos. I'm going to need someone to do that, little kind of housekeeping type things we'll talk about. Someone will get points for sending messages, for receiving messages. I'm sorry, so sending messages to the emergency coordinator or the ARL section manager. We get points for handling messages, and the league message, which John Yusa usually, the field day message, he usually copies that and is involved with contacts. There's a satellite QSO, you get up to 100 points. We have to talk about that, about making satellite contacts. You actually have to make a contact with another station. You can't just, hear the satellite. We got the visits by the officials. There's an educational activity, which a couple of years ago, we had a Morse code CPO set up, and people came by and they learned how to tap out their name in Morse code. And that was an educational activity. There's a variety of youth participation things. There's the GOTA bonus. There's a field day entry web app for using the web app to submit an entry. The safety officer bonus and a social media bonus promoting field day to the public. I mean, you get points for just about everything except eating roadkill. So it works, nicely. It had been mentioned that we need a signage up in the front of the building because you want to get people stopping by. We don't usually have a lot of people coming by, but on occasion we have had that. So the idea would be we'll keep the banner out in front, but we need to get, John had talked about getting us a plywood and making a, field day, public welcome amateur radio, talk to John B or something on the HF, something like that, put on it. We'll have to talk about that and how we're going to do that. So there are a lot of things that we're not fully understanding on. So I think the first thing I want to do is talk about the sideband captain. Is anybody here interested in handling that? It doesn't mean you have to stay there for the whole 27 hours. You just have to be in charge of the schedule and work with Rob and the other guys to make sure that the equipment's there and it's working.
Yeah, specifically, it's just nothing more than really operating a slate of operators, just asking folks to come up and operate using a schedule such as Excel or some other, handwritten thing that you can use just to keep 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., 4 to 5, whatever, for however many operators we have, so that we know who to expect to be up there and how long we need to stay there. So that's all the the CW captain or the sideband captain or the GOTA captain have to worry about is just operating a schedule of operators. Okay, this guy's supposed to be, this person's supposed to be there. They're not here. Let's give it to somebody else, or we don't have an operator. That's the long and short of it.
So is anyone interested in stepping up to be the sideband, the phone captain?
It's either that or we don't operate phone during field day. Nothing more, nothing less.
Seems to be a bit harsh.
That's the way it works. If
I
we
know
don't
that.
have operators, we don't have someone to schedule operators, we don't operate.
I wasn't criticizing. I was just,
Out of 110 people, we can't get one person.
well, we only have 23 on the site here.
So let's nominate somebody who's not here. Maybe that's the way to do it. Then they
I
should.
nominate John, K1LYP.
I'm
Well,
the floater. I'm a floater. I'll do whatever is necessary.
He does a variety of other things. Seriously, he really does.
Come on, guys. Somebody step up here. I hear crickets.
Right.
John is waving his hand.
Yep.
KB1 MFU.
You willing to do that, John? All right. Frozen waffles, everybody, for breakfast while John does the sideband. He makes really good breakfasts, by the way. So it gets you ready to eat the roadkill later that day. John, thank you. We will make sure that you get supported and wrapped in love, electronically speaking.
All right, now one question. For technicians or general class operators, we should have someone who's advanced or amateur extra.
Yeah, we're crawling all over the place. I'm one, a lot of us are. So we will provide that.
Okay, but for the time that, there may not be someone with the advanced license, then we can only operate in the general band or less.
Wherever their license level is at, unless there's someone else in the building that is willing to make sure they're operating within privilege, they have to operate within their own privilege.
Right, now, is that the scheduler, is his job, the police, make sure that we have the right class?
Yeah, so let's say you're up there and you got a guy there that's like, he's a technician. He's got to operate within his privilege. If he's a CW guy, he's like all over the place. If
Right.
he's not, he's probably got to mostly be on 10 meters or otherwise. And if you've got a person up there that is willing to say he can operate under my privilege, he's the control operator, even if it's not you, and he can operate under that control privilege. So
Yep.
And he doesn't have to sit there, does he? He can just be in the building.
he could just be there. As long as he's there, he's a control operator. He can say, check in. Mainly what we don't want, John, and I'll tell you, everybody, we don't want somebody on the CW station operating on 20 meters and another guy on the sideband station operating on 20 meters.
Right.
That's going to blow stuff up. We don't want to blow stuff up. So don't let the smoke out. Just the only thing that I ask of the captains is just if somebody wants to change bands, make sure everybody knows and everybody's off the same band. Nobody is operating on the same band. That's the only thing I ask.
Right. Do we have a list of everybody's license class?
Oh, I do not have that.
Okay, so if people volunteer, I would have to get their current license.
Exactly.
Question,
Yeah.
responsibility belong to the operator.
John, if you want to, maybe give me a call in the shop tomorrow and we can go over a couple of things.
I have to come by for parts, so maybe I can swing by.
All right. Yeah, I'll be around tomorrow.
Okay.
I didn't hear what you said, Mike.
The question I was raising was the responsibility for the operating within your class lies with the operator.
Well, we like to have it operating within the captain so that he knows what's going on and he can say, well, the phone wants to go on 20, but CW's already on 20, but they've been there for 20 minutes or 2 hours or whatever it is. Maybe they need to share. There's just a focal point that says, yeah, I got a little issue here. Let's work it out.
No,
Just a common sense approach to operating.
that's what I'm talking about. Obviously, you have to respect two channels can operate two stations can operate in the same band. The question I'm raising is if the person is operating on 40 and the other station's operating on 20, and he decides to go into the advanced section, he can't do that unless there's a control operator. But that responsibility is the operator.
True. The operator should be knowledgeable of where he can go, but if there's somebody there with the advanced license and is willing to be control operator, we should accommodate him. Maybe he can get some experience in the higher levels of the bands. And
Right. That's up to the control operator.
Well,
Right.
the go-to station functions on that whole premise. You can get a kid that doesn't have a license at all, and you're operating on the control operator's license who's sitting next to him. So whether the control operator is, sitting next to a technician and he's got an AE, then he's the control operator. Isn't that a similar analogy, Rob?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're just talking about common sense operating. But yeah, if you've got someone who doesn't have a license, Rick, if he's the only guy that's there, they're operating under his license privilege, he being the control operator. If I'm there and I'm floating around, Rick's like, hey, this guy wants to operate on an advanced section. I can say, yeah, you can let him do that. I'll probably check in on it, make sure he's on the right band and on the right section of the band for where he wants to operate. But that's dependent on who's there and who's willing to say, yeah, I'll be the control op for that station or for this station or for the other station.
Yeah, or I'll be here for 2 hours. You can do it, use my call for my privileges for 2 hours.
Sure.
So,
That's exactly
and
right.
And, they also have, the logging program, N1MM. Is that right, N1MM?
That's correct. It'll be available for every station, with the exception of the GOTA station. You're going to have to use paper log there.
So, that you could have an advanced operator running being the wingman, so to speak. And the two of them work together. That's actually a lot of fun. And people sit around and they talk. It's not like you're in a vacuum,
Right.
by yourself. It's fun actually to do that.
Well, you're probably going to see a lot of people, getting a burger, getting some snacks, and saying, "Yeah, I think I'll go try operating on 40 meters now or whatever." You're going to have a lot of that stuff, and a lot of people being tuned in. They're going to say, "Yeah, let me go listen to that." And gee, you know what? I'm a technician class, but I want to operate 40 meters, and the guy that's just listening says, "Well, you can operate under my privilege," or if the captain's there, maybe you can operate under his privilege. We've never had a problem like this, but it needs to be stated, and it's important to talk about it.
Yeah, last year we blew some finals or something, didn't we? Just when we got started.
Well, the last two times we operated field day from the station we operated, we blew the Dune Star, which is the band pass filter, and we blew the finals on the FT 950. So yes, it did happen. I'm trying to avoid that this year by putting in the safety protocols I'm asking for. But you never know. Somebody might try to let the smoke out.
Okay, so RRB, Railroad Bob, you have any CW thoughts you want to?
Well, I have my formidable section here with about three of us. So I'll see what I could do. I'll probably end up spending a lot of time there just to get our score up to some value. It's just going to be a learning experience for the new ops. That's all it is. You can't expect a lot from this year. After a year, I think they'll be really ready to be on their own. But this year, I expect to be coaching them along when they are there.
Great. That's what field day is supposed to be all about.
It's supposed to be fun. It's not a bloodletting.
Right. Plus, you'll be the first person to operate at the new dedicated CW station for W1KKF. Okay. So, GOTA, Rick, back to you for any questions or concerns or anything giving you hives.
Well, what call sign are we operating under on the main station?
W1NRG.
Negative. We're operating Whiskey 1 field day, Whiskey 1 Fox Delta.
No. If I may disagree, the main station I think is W1NRG, and the GOTA station is W1FD.
Well, that's what he asked. How are we operating GOTA?
No. I asked what was our main station call.
I'm sorry. Ed asked for GOTA comments. That's what I was going on. The
Right,
premises.
I'm getting to that comment through the back door because I'm sitting here reading the GOTA station FAQs, and it says that the GOTA has to operate under a different station call. Can't use the same one. So I was trying to write them both down so I was clear on what we were doing.
So then John B is absolutely correct.
Well, what's the main one? W1NRG?
Whiskey 1 November Radio Golf, W1NRG.
Okay, that's the main. And W1FD is the GOTA call. Very cool.
That's not our specific call, though, is it?
What,
Does that
W1FD?
stand for Frank, or does that stand for field day?
Both.
W1FD is a club call that belongs to the scholarship fund.
Right, Frank Domofowski.
Who Frank started the scholarship fund. W1FD is the club call of the scholarship fund. I am the trustee, and I have given permission to the GOTA station to use it for the field day weekend.
Right.
Is that GOTA station going to be on a third band frequency wise?
Yes.
That is correct.
That'll be interesting coordinating the three different stations because they're not going to be situated near each other.
Well, I plan on having an intimate conversation with the three captains for CW, phone, and GOTA so that they understand when somebody wants to change bands, they have to let everybody know.
All right. That's a plan.
It would be, maybe they could use one of those two-way radio things to coordinate with each other.
Nah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to say phone is this, CW's that, GOTA's this other one. And if you want to change, whoever's here whoever's a radio guy on site, and there's a few of us, you're going to have to go, I say, I want to go to 40 meters, and that guy's been on 40 meters for 2 hours. I'd like to go to 40 meters. We're going to work that out. So,
John, were you alluding to GMRS or maybe the CB frequencies?
I don't know what he was, probably 2 meter or 440 or something.
Oh, I thought he might be, talking about GMRS, They got pretty cool walkie-talkies there.
Are we still using that Doomstar filter?
Yes, for phone and CW.
All right.
So Brian, N1BRI said he's interested in helping out. He's having audio problems. But we can certainly use you, Brian, for a bunch of things that we need some help with. So we'll get, as we go along here, we'll talk about that.
So Brian, if I can interject one thing.
Yep.
Brian, shoot me an email, and I can probably fill you in on how things go, what you can expect, and where you feel like you want to fit in.
All right. So what about the satellite station, Rob? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, at this point, I'm not sure who's willing to do something like that. We don't have the egg beater system up on the middle poles, so someone's going to have to point an arrow type of antenna at the satellites and try to make contacts. I've done it in years past. If I have some time, I'll try to make a contact, but I'm not going to commit to it at this point.
If you go on YouTube, there's a couple of YouTube videos that show how to do it. There's one guy, when I was heavily into satellites, I was watching it, and they had this.
Excuse me, please.
Hold the radio, but he had developed an aluminum pair of the radio, and all you needed to do was just pivot it using a cord. So.
Someone that might be able to do that is, believe it or not, Bobcat Carruthers. I watched him and Bill, the first field day I was ever involved in, make a contact with an 817, I believe it was, of Yaesu. I called it the salad bowl satellite rig, but basically it was a homebrew type of mount for an Alaskan antenna, which is a 2 meter for 40 Yagi, and they pointed up. They were able to make a contact on CW. I was able to do it on FM birds, the repeater birds, for several years. So it's not really hard to do, but you need someone willing to do it that has the right gear.
Right. It was easy for me to do it at home because I have a Kenwood TS2000. Dinosaur bone though it may be, it has a satellite option. So I just pushed the SATL button and whammo, I was all connected.
Awesome. No, it sounds like we just got to volunteer, guys, because we're going to be using an FT TS2000, Kenwood 2000, and we can easily connect that up to the 2 meter antenna. Yeah. So you can make a satellite contact.
That's correct. If it's a 2 meter, it's a 2 meter, 75 centimeter.
Right.
Then because there's an uplink, and uplink is often 2 meters, and downlink is 44, 442 or something like that, or vice versa. The problem with making satellite is it has to be high enough above the horizon to be able to pick it up. That's one. Number two, it's moving at 17,000 miles an hour, so you've got limited time to make the contact. And three, which is probably the hardest of all, you've got 60 people trying to talk in those 3 minutes where it's available, and it's a gigantic pileup. And that is not the time to rag chew. That's This is W1YSM. You're 5973, and you're gone.
So are you willing to do it? Because we can set the gear up.
No, I'm not. I'm willing to participate and help people and tell you. There's a lovely handbook. We can talk about that. About that being doable. Most of the contacts I made were at 2 a.m. when people were not there. But I tried it once at noon and I just gave up. And there's places we can see where the satellite's going to be, what satellite it is. We can talk about that. That's all doable stuff. But we'll see.
I heard a maybe.
Pardon me?
I heard a maybe.
Yeah, maybe, and that's my final answer.
I have one of those arrow antennas if the club wants to borrow it at 2 and 440.
Yeah. And there are tripods around, so we can, if I can find that email, that YouTube, it was really it was made out of aluminum, and it was just a marvelous little device. I'll see if I can find it again. There's also a nice handbook, which the ARRL puts out, and called, which I got. It was sort of my Bible when I was involved with this stuff. Unblur. It's called Amateur Radio Satellites for Beginners, and it literally is. It was written by Steve Ford, who's a member of our club, and actually that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, there's an idea. I suggest, why don't you get a hold of Bob, see if he's around, if he's willing to come back up there. He did it for a couple of years for us.
Yeah, I will.
Why
I
don't
think
you
he'd like the offer also.
Why don't you shoot Steve Ford an email and see if he's interested?
Yeah, that too.
We can do that. All right, so that's moving along. What about signage? Is anybody interested in making a sign? John Yusa has ideas what he wants on the sign. It's basically a I don't know, a 4x8 or something like that on both sides that you'll be able to put on a. We have the little horses, those plastic,
Sandwich boards.
Yeah, sandwich board things, right? That you can put out by the street.
John, do we have any of those old signs we had in years past? Do you know?
I think we have a couple, but I have no idea where they are till we go looking for them, and I'm sure they're not in the best of condition. They're like 13, 14 years old.
Roger that.
They're probably, at this point, the paper on them is probably extremely fragile. And all it says is field day. It doesn't say public welcome, free, or kids welcome, or anything like that.
Probably right.
So if we get I'm thinking, just off the top of my head here, a 4x8 sheet of plywood, basically painted white with black lettering on it that you can stencil or whatever, and even if it looks crude, just free public welcome, kids welcome, or something to that degree. Just so as people go back and forth to church up and down the street, rather than trying to look for a little 8.5 by 11 sign on a picket that says field day, at least it'll say something.
It would be really nice if we had little something to give the kids if they came in, plus the radio, something like crayons and coloring books and pencils and magnets.
We don't have anything like that, do we, Ed?
No, we don't. I do, and they're sitting behind me, $5,000 worth of coloring books and crayons.
I was just wondering where we could possibly find some. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a donation.
It would be
I make a motion that the club purchases some of these crayons and coloring books from Ed, so we can have them available for field day.
Not that this is a business meeting, but yes, seconded.
Then we won't have to listen to it anymore.
Exactly.
I have with me let me unblur myself again here.
We know what you got over there, Ed.
Background, none. There it is. Barnyard animals, ladies and gentlemen, complete with a baggie. Barnyard animals with your favorite cow. And on the back is a turkey doing something unspeakable to a ram.
With a rooster, I think, sitting on a goat.
Well, this would be a perfect segue for the
called the goose
publicity. The publicity chairman.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, we've got all these good things which are helpful. So we have that, and So signage, we'll have to talk to, Ted may be willing to do that.
Renzoni.
Yeah. I'll check with Ted.
He might be willing to do it, but so is Kristen. She's actually the head of publicity for our group.
Yeah, well, I don't think she's, the signage is more in his thing. Let's see, what else is there? There are a variety of other things that, people to give tour. That's what Ted is going to be doing is, giving tours of the building and.
He's the greeter, right? The greeter.
Greeter, as he said he would. Well, the thing just for Saturday, Sunday we may need other people, but anybody can be a greeter who wants to just walk around and say hello. So.
Yeah, the last thing you want is people just coming in, nobody greets them, they walk around, they look at it and they have no idea. Nobody's there to answer any questions.
Right.
Again,
Exactly.
you don't even need a license for that. I mean,
Right.
Saturday is the most important day anyway. Sunday, we generally don't get a lot of publicity or public involved. Saturday's the day.
Right.
It usually is like the day that pops, in other words.
Did you get some of those high school girls you had during the Santa thing? They were pretty good.
They were from the medical research council.
Well, how about John? How about your like Quicksilver gals? Some of those ladies.
They're flying in from Ohio.
That's not my problem.
Well, you get 30,000 people there. I'll set up my tables and I'll bring the girls.
You have pictures of the girls this year?
Yeah, I got to get it up on the website, but they were.
I saw him in a video.
There's a visual for you.
It's just coincidence that I have to hire extra help for Dayton, and they always turn out to be attractive young ladies. It's just coincidence.
That's how he gets it up. There you go. Okay, so moving along, what other things do we want to talk about?
Do they know anything about radio?
Why are you moving so fast, Ted?
Yes,
I'd like to linger here for a while.
I'm not sure why I'm moving so fast. Something because the FCC may be listening.
Nah, this is not an RF transmission.
No, that's true.
Bart, they don't have to.
Ted's face turned very red.
It did.
Look at it.
If they don't call me a red-blooded American for nothing,
Here we go. Sorry.
All right. Let's see. I've got about 20 minutes. Let me take 5 minutes and talk about other things we're doing here, or I've been doing for my copious free time. We have set up things are moving forward for the gala. We have secured a group that's going to get a tent. The tent is going to be put up for the gala, which is Thursday, which is 2 days before field day. It's going to be on the tarmac parking lot right next door, contiguous with the firehouse. 30 by 30 tent with flaps, so in case it rains. It'll be big enough for the 60 or 70 chairs and 8 sets of tables and the food tables that'll be put inside it. So people will need to park either at Moran, probably, and just walk up. If they're handicapped or have trouble walking, they can be dropped off and then they can drive back down and someone can walk back. But they don't have to walk on the grass. They don't have to be near the propane tank. We're not going to have any porta potties because there's a lady in a men's room inside the building, which hopefully will be fixed by that time. There'll be, John, I think we're going to need your PA system because we've got, the luminaries talking and so forth. So we'll need something to, some audio inside the tent.
Okay.
Just FYI there. We have a program that's been made. The program is going to be a trifold, like 8.5 by 14 or something like that. The first panel is going to be the cover, which has sort of is the program and saying what it is and so forth, and with a nice design on it. I sent it out, I think, to the leadership. I haven't sent it out to everybody yet, but I will. Then the inside panel, the second panel is going to be the program, which is going to consist of a welcome by me, an introduction of the mayor, and introduction of the fire chiefs. Then we're going to have a presentation by Fred Kemmerer from the league. I invited the CEO of the league, who would have come, but he's going to be in Germany that day, so he won't be able to be there. Dave Minster. So Fred, who's the director of the Northeast District, and hopefully Phil Temples, the vice director, will be there as well. There'll be other town officials. They'll be presenting the ARL present us an award for 75 years of affiliation. There will be the presentation by Rob of the Bill Warzeniak CW station. There'll be a brief presentation by KB1JL, Eric, on Chris, remembering him and all that he meant to the club. And there'll also be another presentation that we're going to have as well on Secret Santa kind of thing. Not really Secret Santa, but it's there's going to be another presentation. There's going to be food. The food will be individual little groups of food. It's not going to be a communal, dip your bowl or your plates in there. There will be people who's serving it, so that everyone will be able to have an individual plate that's disposable. The food will be individual. If it's on, like, for example, there may be meatballs in a chafing dish, but they'll be spooned onto your plate so that no one's going to go take it themselves, so that it will be a COVID-friendly environment. Plus, the tent will allow for good ventilation, and I think we'll be, reasonable shape from that regard. We also have fans we can put in to help with the circulation if needed, although it's going to be at 6 to 7, 2 days after the summer solstice, so it should be warm and will certainly be light. There will be dessert. The food will be, there'll be a lot of, we haven't picked out the menu yet, but it's not going to be, as I've mentioned before, just some pizza slices. There's going to be some upscale food, no alcoholic beverages. We decided not to even have non-alcoholic beer because you got to start explaining to the mayor and everybody. It's awkward. We're just going to have sodas and things. They'll either be in cans or it'll be in dispensers with the spigot, so that no one's going to, have a big 2-liter container open and pour it into your cup, and then the next guy pours it. Again, because of COVID concerns, trying to make sure people are comfortable that are going to be there. And then we'll have the presentation. There'll be a general meet and greet for everybody from 6 to 7. 7 to 7:20 will be the presentation of the awards. And then after that, the dignitaries will leave probably, and we can all sit and hobnob till 8:30. So that's going to be outlined on the second panel. The third panel is going to be a list of current club members. Will be listed on there. The fourth panel is going to be a list of our current activities, of which there are about 10 or 15 or 20, which will tell everybody what we're doing, all the various activities that the club does. The fifth panel is going to be the history of the Meriden Amateur Radio Club that was put together by several people in the club, and I did some editing, and a lot of people offered corrections. And then the last page that was Dave Sweetock's idea is going to be pictures of the club officers over the years, which I think is reasonable. And we'll also have a picture of the firehouse at the bottom of that. And those we can print up at Kinko's or something, so we're not going to have that be too fancy, but it should look very nice. And we'll have the newspapers there, maybe the press, the TV or radio. And I think it'll be a nice, we've sent out invitations. If you have not gotten an invite, please let me know. We're going to send out another series. We can tell if you've received it or not, and if you've opened it or not. That information goes back to Trish, who is the person who was coordinating all of this. So she knows if you opened it and didn't answer back, and I'm not going to call people out by name. Whether you come or not is obviously up to you. You can bring one guest, just so we don't have a million people there. I don't think we will. 37 people have already said they're coming. 8 or so people have given their regrets, and then there's about 80 people that haven't answered at all. So we need to get information. Please let us know so we can get the right amount of food. Okay?
Hey, Ed, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be handing out a scholarship very soon. Would it make sense to try to do that at the gala?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great idea. Great idea. You're going to have the information in the next couple of weeks because we have to get this printed up.
Well, we selected somebody, but we have to contact the person and see if they
Okay.
would be
Let me
available to
know, 'cause
come.
we don't, I'd like to at least put the name in. We don't have to put in, you can state the background and what the person did and what she did. or he
Okay,
did, But
then
we
if
can
they,
certainly put in, that would be wonderful to do that. That
yeah,
would be
if
great.
they may, yeah, you could put the info in that we awarded a scholarship. If the person's there, we'll award it. If not,
What's
at
the
least
official title of the scholarship?
Frank Tarmafalski Memorial Scholarship. It's on the website.
I knew that.
I get, yeah, exact wording, something like that.
Maybe we could also give out a riding mower, so maybe Joe N1LES would be interested as a raffle or something like that.
Yeah, I can use 2 of them and make twice the noise for you.
Thanks,
mention
Jim.
the carbon
Thanks, Jim, for
monoxide.
spearheading that committee.
Ed, I have a question.
Hold
What,
on
the
one second.
lawnmower
So
committee?
the Frank Darmofowski Memorial Scholarship will be awarded. You want me to put the name in the program?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So give me the name when you get it and when it's all official, and we'll put that in. That's wonderful. That's a
All
great,
right.
that's
Yeah,
great.
that's up to
Yeah, it
Jim.
shows some other things we're doing, community.
Hopefully you're not going to give it to someone in Meriden. However, that would be awkward.
Oh, geez, I think the person is Wallingford. I double
Yes,
check
that
that.
would be excellent.
Yeah.
Or if necessary, we could buy her a room for the night or something, just to say.
Oh, yeah, the person lives in Wallingford.
Good, excellent.
I have
Yeah, who had a question?
I did. On the list of memberships of
Yeah.
the members of the club,
Yeah.
is it possible to have the number of years they've been members of the club?
Mike, that's just an awful lot of work, Mike. I really don't think.
It's a
What
lot of
we're gonna
work and
do-
not for the activities meeting that we're talking about here.
Yeah, we know what we're gonna do, Mike. We're gonna have a link to the website, and that can all be put on the website, plus all the past members. We wanted to have every club member. That's being researched by Dave and Rich. That'll all be on a link on the website. That's an excellent idea, but we don't have room in the program for that or the time. But thank you for that idea. That's a good idea.
So, hey, Ed?
Yeah.
Will we be able to have the fire truck out of the bay for either for the ceremony or for field day at least?
I will talk to Lenny and see what can be done.
Okay.
I think Eric's already planning to ask him about that. So you might want to check with Eric first. He's our liaison for the town.
Yeah, he's not on, is he? I didn't see him.
No, he's not here, but you might want to check with him first.
Yep.
It would be real good if that was out.
Yeah. The reason we're not having the event in the fire truck bay is that it smells of gasoline and fumes, and that doesn't go well with ramaki and bacon wrapped around the scallop with all the fumes you can eat.
I have to tell you, I'm kind of excited that John Ramadi is like making breakfast for Sunday. Like the last time it happened, I was like, that was phenomenal breakfast.
Yes, it was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, at least you'll have some good food.
No. Saturday was great, phenomenal. I'm used to your roadkill. I'm interested in what you've picked up over the last couple of months.
Oh, on the way back from Dayton.
See, you went through Pennsylvania, didn't you? Got to be plenty of roadkill through there.
I was going through, believe it, I was going through Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
Look at that.
There was a groundhog right on the side of the road.
You got Phil, didn't you? You got Phil. I know you got Phil.
I'm not saying it was Phil, but it's probably gonna be the best one ever.
Damn right.
I hope everybody will enjoy keto breakfast.
Oh God, wonderful.
Oh, phenomenal. That's right up my alley, buddy.
Yes.
John, I will have no problem with that at all. Bring it on.
Okay.
Yeah, but the flapjacks are much better. Or Sandwiches. Okay. So the other thing I've been doing assiduously is I've been filling out the preliminaries for the Marconi grant, which is about 15 pages. It is, they want quite a bit of information. So the Marconi grant, for those of you who don't know, is the ARRL grant. They're giving out money to clubs. And Marconi is what we're going to be offering. It stands for motivating amateur radio clubs to offer new initiatives. Motivating amateur radio clubs to offer new initiatives, Marconi. I was stuck with the letters of his name. That's the best I could do, guys. I would have liked embrace new initiatives, but his name isn't Marconi. It's Marconi, so we have the O. In any event, I'm putting it together. I will need to get together the 7 groups of people who are the directors of this section, and you know who you are. And we will have what we need to get. It looks like we're going to need like a 1-page maximum of what your section is going to do. What are the sections? There's a POTA section, which we have Sean is going to handle. There's a fox hunt section that Dave Tipping. We have a section on CW, which Bob is going to do. We have a section on what was the other sections on? I think there was that one on, I have it written down here.
Satellite.
Yeah, hold on. I've got different folders here. This is the Mark thing. Here it is over here. I got it. Okay. CW is Bob. Satellites is Rob. We have one on license and VE, Don, K-E-1-A-Y. Served agencies, which is everything under the sun, Red Cross, Skywarn, etc. And I added a 7th one on the NCS and the traffic system that K1LYP has agreed to do once he cleans out the refrigerators. So, and what it is we're going to just talk about how we are going to basically have the club act as Elmers to other people, other clubs, new hams, newbies, so that what was not going to work is to have you guys, and I've repeated this, so forgive me if you've heard the spiel before, I'll be brief. We're going to offer a fox hunt and invite people from other clubs to learn how to do fox hunts. We'll put together a 1-page, fox hunt for dummies, how they do it, and invite other clubs to come and do it, other people to join us. We can go to high schools and get 3 or 4 high schoolers or college kids who want to do it. Same thing with POTA. I had envisioned getting a one of those yellow Bluebird school buses full of screaming high school kids to watch Sean do a POTA activation at Wharton Brook. And he said, Ed, there's too many people. You can't do it that way. You really need small numbers, like 4 or so. So we'll do it maybe once a month, twice a month. We'll do it. If you do it every month, and you can do it in Sleeping Giant, you can get sodas going on. You're training people how to do POTAs and getting them on air. Bob will have CW classes and kids will come to us. We don't have to go to them, et cetera, et cetera. The license exams we do anyway. We'll have other people learn how to do those. And Bart has put together a huge packet of information. Putting that together helps people want to join your club so that they can learn how to hand things out to other people at the other clubs that we're Elmering, so to speak. So we don't have to do anything but what we normally do. And then the served agencies and then the traffic passing is stuff we can work on as well. So I think we will, I can't be 100% sure, but I would be willing to bet a small fortune on the fact that we'll get some money. We're going to ask for somewhere around 5,000 or 6,000. Bob, for example, might want a commercial device that has room for 10 or 12 people listening in to code practice so that he can run code oscillator practice without bothering a lot of people or having people strained to listen because they just sit around the table and plug in.
Yeah, you haven't received my my budgetary input yet, have you?
No, I have not. We haven't done any of that. I haven't got to that yet, but there's a page.
It's coming, buddy.
Okay. Well, you know, we can go maybe up to 10,000. I think we have a good chance. They're giving out a $500,000. So it's $250,000 in two tranches. The first is due June 30th. So there's about a month. That's a hell of a end of the month. We've got the gala, we've got field day, and I've got the due date for this for the Project Marconi. It's not to mention towards the end of the month is also the celebration and the parade.
All right.
So anywho, I was working on that a lot, and that's what I've been doing. So any other comments about field day or any of the other projects?
I've got two comments. I would ask John and you, Ed, to check your chat. I've asked you questions in the chat. You can reply offline or inline as you desire, but I was looking for some input from both of you. That's all I have.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Is he still? Yes. This, by the way, is let's see, the last field day. That the gala is the last time, and starting in July, Ian is going to be taking over for the activities as the activities chair with my help. I didn't forget that part, Ian. Not to worry. But if anybody has ideas about speakers or topics they want covered, please let Ian, W1 Whiskey 1 India Kilo Whiskey. We can invite people to talk. We're starting in July. Although July, we usually have the Lark in the Park, right, on that time slot.
Yes.
So it's August that it will be the first one, Ian. So you don't have to worry about Lark in the Park. We'll do that. We kind of know how to do that. John handles that for the most part. That's at Marcus Cook Park. If we decide to go there, I think we decided to. We rent it for the evening and bring your own mosquitoes.
Don't we need to reschedule the history of the club talk as well?
Yes, correct. That's correct. That's correct. All right. I think we have how many, Bart? How many people do we expect to vote in for the next meeting? 2 or 3? You're on mute.
I think I only have one currently.
I thought there were 2 from the VE session.
2. You're right.
Okay, and then there was someone else.
No,
who
there's
sent
one.
something in.
No, just one.
Well, somebody sent a thing in from remember the guy from Avon?
That's the one I have. Sergio.
Oh, so you don't have
RBY.
Oh, so just you don't have anybody from the VE session then yet?
I don't think so.
Because you guys told me that 2 people filled out applications. All right, we'll check into it. That's okay.
Yeah.
I thought one guy filled out an application right at the VE session.
I'll have to look.
Please do. So that'll give us like 124 people if 2 people come in. So quite a bit.
It's entirely possible that they accepted and said, yeah, they're going to fill out an application, but just haven't submitted it yet.
All right. Any other thoughts, folks? I hope those of you who are been sitting here listening will come to field day. You just have to, you can put in a cameo. That's great. We really would like to get, the club, people coming in. There's not a ton of people that are there. So if you're worried about, inside, we keep the windows open, the doors will be open, there'll be fans on, there'll be a good deal of ventilation. And you should all get vaccinated too. There'll probably be in the fall a combination flu COVID booster coming out, even if you've had a double. So you'll have a 3rd booster along with your flu vaccine. And I don't think we have to worry much about monkeypox.
The firehouse is air conditioned.
The what?
John
Yes.
says the firehouse is air conditioned.
Yeah. True. You don't have to worry about
Good.
monkeypox too much. So,
The firehouse air conditioning.
yes, I heard. I got it. Correct. But turtle pox, which is coming next after monkeypox, is I hear it's really bad. So,
But it's
that's-
slower.
yes, and it
So
throws
then when they
cat.
get up to cockroach and rat pox, that's when we have to worry.
Well, they already had rat pox. It's called bubonic plague.
I'm vaccinated for smallpox.
You were?
Yeah.
That explains it right there. That's the answer. I knew there was a reason. Yeah, they actually have, although smallpox is theoretically eradicated, they still have vaccine for it frozen away in case it rears its ugly head again. And they're finding organisms in salt crystals that are 800 million years old. So if the left one don't get you, the right one do.
They've been testing the monkeypox vaccine, but everybody that's got it so far has gone ape.
All right, just for that, you are in charge of the GOTA station. We're going to move it over. So.
I'll be glad to work with them.
Well, he's in charge of the phone station.
Phenomenal.
Everyone's going ape, but
I'm in awe.
That was well said, Jim. Well said. Well said. All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
Motion to adjourn, even though you don't need it.
Okay. All opposed.
Okay.
Hey. There you go, John.
All right, gentlemen. The next time we'll meet is on the second Thursday in June. And 2 weeks after that, all the good stuff happens. So I will be in touch. Thank you all.
Thanks, Ed.
We are now adjourned.
Okay.